now I need a vacation.
What was that?
I said now I need a vacation.
Yeah, yeah. I the last few vacations I've taken over the past few years, because that is kind of why I like banking, is like my last bank made you take a week off every 6 months. It was kind of awesome. But they did that for auditing purposes and stuff. And of course, if you're shady, you got something to worry about. Me, I never had anything to worry about. But problem with me was I didn't know how to turn off. So I always was busier on my vacation than I was at work. So I always needed a vacation after my vacation. This is the first vacation. Granted, it's 3 days and 2 weekend days, so 5 days. But I've legitimately done fucking nothing except for work at work at the toy store that my brother and I own. And then the past 3 days, like today, I'm gonna take our mom to Ace Hardware and get a bunch of gardening stuff. Yesterday, I went to go see my lady at work and like have lunch with her, and that was just cool. And I feel like I'm dressed like a homeless guy for like all 5 days, and I fucking love it.
You usually wear a suit or something, or
They would like that. No, usually I just wear dress pants and like a dress shirt, but I refuse to wear a tie anymore. I mean, Northern Arizona, it's like I have, my boss is honestly one of like the cleanest cut, most pure dudes I've ever met. It's fucking weird, but I love him. He wears a three-piece suit a lot, and I'm like, I can't do that, dude. I'm too fucking hillbilly. And but just wearing the dress pants and the dress shirt is close enough for me. So like being able to wear my flannels and jeans for 5 days in a row, oh, I'm in love.
I bet it's a lot easier. It's and plus I would imagine like wearing three-piece suits consistently. I mean, that's a lot of maintenance, number one, because you can't just throw it in the washing machine. And number two, it's like expensive.
Anyone but him, I would doubt it. But he is like, like like okay, for any of your viewers that may be Mormon, this may come off wrong. Just know,
Disclaimer.
yes, my boss is one of my closest friends, and I call him my Mormon magic. Like I've told him, hey, when you guys have your uprising, just let me, like, just let everybody know, let all the homies know I'm your Gentile. My family, we are your Gentiles. But if it was anyone else but this dude, I would be like going, how the fuck do you keep up with that maintenance? But this guy is like, honestly, the I work for a golden retriever of a fucking human, and he is like a great dad, great husband, fucking phenomenal boss. And I'm like, I at this point, I don't even. It's that Mormon magic, dude. Like those guys. That if it weren't for like making me quit chewing tobacco or something like that, I don't know. I'm just saying, I might be like, I might need to go there because you guys might be able to make something out of me. I don't fucking know.
We
I
believe.
I do talk like this in front of him. His wife, like his wife has I sent him a few voice messages referring to Mormon magic, and his wife has his wife has overheard some of that, and it's just like, great. When she meets me, it's oh boy.
Well, I mean, lasting impression, right?
True, and you only get one chance to make a first impression, and I intend on making it as crazy of a fucking first impression as I can.
That way they can't say, "Oh, that Mike wouldn't do that." I mean, because if they're like, "Nah, Mike is a little too wild for that. He wouldn't do that calm stuff. That doesn't seem like him." I mean, at least you got an alibi and a backstory, right?
Exactly. I did once get out of I a customer once called corporate and made up a bunch of shit just because I what they wanted to do was kind of against the law, and I was like, all right, dude, like I'm not breaking financial laws, because no, that's when Uncle Sam actually gives a shit. And so I refused to do it. So they called my old corporate bank and made up all kinds of shit about me. My branch manager didn't even bring it to me because there's no way Mike talks like that. They're like, wait, what? It's like, yeah, it would be worse.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, okay.
Hey, alibi right there, man. Well,
Hey, right.
how long have you been working in banking? And like, what were some
6 years.
of the
Before, yeah, before that, I was in the car business and I was selling cars, and I got pretty damn good at it. I realized pretty much most of selling cars is just talking to people, and it's not about finding necessarily the car that they want. It's about finding the car that they need.
Mhm.
Everybody wants to go in there and buy $100,000 pickup truck. But I figured out real quick, hey, if this 50,000 or $30,000 truck that's used suits you just as good, if not better, than that 100 grand pretty big truck thing, then what the fuck are we doing, dude? Let me save you 30, or let me save you 70 grand, because you save 70 grand, I make more money. And so it was, I did that for quite a while, and then finally I spent the last 2 years I was in it getting ready to get out of it, and then really just was not liking the idea of selling the keeping up with the Jones lifestyle, selling the debt based
Yeah.
economy, because that shit'll kill us one day. I mean, the fucking credit report is a scam. And then I got into banking and kind of butted heads for 5.5 years with corporate banking, and just could not stand them. And so for like, I was one of the top performers in my region, but they were always after me like, hey, you need more credit cards, you need more this. And I'm like, I don't need to put more people in debt. Like, I'm making them money. And if a credit card will suit their needs, or a loan will suit their needs, that is when I will do it. And so, needless to say, that led to a lot of conflict with there, but I was a good employee. I was good with my team. My customers loved me. It was regional management and above that I had a really bad habit of telling them that they were fucking dumb. And
Mm.
so, about 10 months ago, or shit, maybe longer. Yeah, May of last year, I went over to a credit union, and oh my God, I drank the Kool-Aid so hard. Like, now, basically, what I spend doing my days is I spend my days educating people on how to break out of the debt-based economy. I get them into loans that suit them better. If they don't, I'll get people coming in here going, "Hey, I want to do a personal loan for this kind of thing," and I'm like, "Well, you think that, but let me save you 10% in interest by doing this." And so I legitimately feel that I have been able to do, like, probably more, oh God, 5 times as many life-changing financial impacts for the better on people with a credit union in 10 months and 5.5 years with corporate banking. And honestly, for anyone out there, if you're not if you're with a bank, take a look at your credit union. If you don't have a banker who you can call or email, like, by name,
Mm.
if you don't have a banker, get a credit union. Because I know, like, I have easily, I'll show you in a bit, but I have one of the best views in there. But I can literally look out my front window and see the locations of like 4 or 5 big members of mine, where I've helped them, like, hey, consolidate this, consolidate that. I just last week I made a lady cry in my office because we put all of her loans into, she had a 10-year loan, and I
Mhm.
consolidated it, and all of her debt will be paid off in about 5 years, including that 10-year loan. She is going to save something like $30,000 in interest overall. Her payment went down by half, and all of a sudden now her paycheck doesn't feel like tiny. So for anyone out there, if you guys have issues, swing by your credit union. And if you don't get the service, fucking honestly, let me know, contact Everett. He'll get you that stuff. I can only help people in Arizona, but I will beat feet and do some research for who you guys can reach out to, because financial stress is the number one way that they keep us fucking down.
Uh, yeah. Oh, God. Um,
Sorry for the soapbox.
no, but I mean it's actually refreshing because for the most part, you have the fortune of working for a great credit union for what
Fuck
it
yeah.
sounds like. Some credit unions, or at least speaking from my personal experience, because I work in a credit, or I don't work in credit union, I bank with a credit union rather. Um, but it's like a big branch credit union that was started by a bigger company, and
Ah,
yeah, you already know it's like yeah, we'll do your banking needs and everything, but as far as like getting the actual help that you need, I mean, you're not going to be able to find somebody that is a name banker, versus an NPC, like Mike versus bank teller.
yeah.
That's basically what you get. Sorry, I got birds in the background.
Dude,
Uh,
my brother has three cats, and so they're running around, and you might hear them. Like, my brother and I live together, and so his cats are bigger than my dog, and there you might hear one of them just fucking thud into something. So forget I yeah.
but I mean, it's actually good to hear that because in my case, I'm trying to take this podcast platform to um a higher step, if you will, a higher standard,
Yeah.
and having to deal with like all sorts of uh divorce stuff. Like, I had to spend money during that. Lawyers aren't cheap. Um, Court case didn't really go. Actually, both court cases because I had to go back twice. It was pretty stupid. So, um, nonetheless, it seems like I spent a whole lot of money trying to get that taken care of, especially since there's a child involved.
Yeah.
Only to look up and say, "Damn, okay, I didn't really get too far with what I was trying to do or trying to accomplish." And now I basically have to pay back all this crap that has nothing to show for it. You know, it's a debt. It's almost like a mafia debt. It's like, okay, we gave you the money, now you need to do something for us if
Yeah.
you can't pay it back. So
Yeah, I when I got divorced, I get it. Like, I honestly had like the best divorce ever. My ex-wife, I won't publicly talk bad about her, because she is Eastern European and I'm terrified of her. In all seriousness, her and I are actually pretty good friends, and if she ever sees that right there, she'll probably just laugh at me and then text me and tell me I'm stupid. But when we divorced, it wasn't an amicable divorce. Like, it was, and at this point it's been over a decade. Like, honestly, it doesn't matter. Who cares what? I was more than half at fault. She was definitely at fault too. Like, it was, we were kids. And
yeah,
but it was it one thing that I am very grateful for both of us is that it didn't there were no kids involved. There wasn't that bullshit, and as far as I'm aware, like, I know I did, and I'm pretty sure she did too. I think she did. I've never brought it up with it. Now we basically just check in with each other on birthdays and holidays, just being nice. But we escaped. We got out of that pretty much debt free out of that stuff, and I mean, like, that was the I am so grateful that because I've seen what have I've seen it fucking ruin people.
yeah. It damn near makes some people destitute. I'm over here like it didn't get that bad, but it was flirting with it.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
wasn't like the sexy flirting. It was like, hardcore drunk, out of your mind. Hey, this person won't leave me alone type flirting. If you could even utilize that for like leave me
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah. I and that just kind of captures the thing of, like, finances, especially here in this country. And I love my country, and I know you do too. Like, there is no other place that I would rather live. But the simple reality in this country is finances dictate everything. I mean,
Yeah.
it is how you control your financial health dictates your mental health, dictates, and oftentimes the health of your marriage.
Yeah.
It dictates I mean, it shapes everything. How well you play the credit score game, and the credit system is a game, and it can be played very well. It can be played horribly, and for the people who don't play the credit score game at all, at some point in time, unless they are generationally wealthy, they're gonna get screwed by it because you get punished for not playing it. And that's why I love what I do, is because I educate people every day on the importance of finance, the importance of the credit score, and I also let them know, like, hey, look, this shit is fucked up. It's a game. It's rigged against you. Here's how you play it.
Mm.
And I kind of feel like I'm helping. Maybe this is just delusions of grandeur, but it's what I tell myself at night to sleep. I'm helping people rig the odds in their favor. And I fucking love it.
So like Ocean's 11 in a sense.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, just not breaking into a casino because I am not that flexible enough to fit in one of those carts. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's at least good to know that there's people out there that are still doing the actual work that their position was actually meant to do instead of like
yeah.
uh turn being like borderline bankrupt into a business. Ironically enough, I think somehow, since you said the credit score itself is a game, which you can easily tell, um, God forbid they decide to use the credit score for like to determine whether or not you can utilize your rights to Second Amendment, freedom of speech, so on and so forth.
That is what I fucking worry about. That is absolutely what I worry about. I worry about educational level.
Mm.
Um, like this is going to sound pretty arrogant, but I know I'm pretty intelligent. My mom is a highly accomplished anthropologist. My brother is incredibly intelligent. My mom's probably one of the smartest fucking human beings I've ever met. Like, it's fucking weird.
Yeah.
My brother is a very accomplished archaeologist, and he works for a city government now, and he does well, okay, a town government. There's 400 of us that live here, but it's an entirely historic town, and he this the town ordinances were a fucking mess because over 100 years no one had really standardized and codified it. My brother was able to sort through that and get it squared out in 3 years. That's a fucking smart dude.
Wow.
But neither my brother nor I have actually we have had some college education, but we have no degrees. And it's like going on the paper. On paper, I look uneducated. I look that, but it's like that's what I worry about, is those education levels, the credit scoring levels, other demographic features. And I mean, not even no one will openly say, oh, a white guy like me can buy a gun, but a black dude like you can't. No one will say that openly nowadays
Yeah. But
because yeah,
I'm
okay,
sorry. Go ahead.
maybe there might be like one or two dudes, but there are other ways.
I was just gonna say like they might not say it directly, but it's like you could the energy is there. You can feel the vibe. It's like you walk into something. Like say for example, I end up getting a HK VP9, right? I think the
Yeah,
first gen because I think they stopped making the first gen. And they you do the usual check. They open up the box and they're like, "Oh well, that's a good brand, HK. You've got great taste." If you listen, you can hear the silent motherfucker behind the rest of the sentence. It's like you got the what they said, and then the hidden like it's quiet. But
yeah,
you're right. I mean, for the most part, they're not going to say it out loud. It's just
no,
yeah,
and it's very subtle, and it's in a lot of ways where you and I fucking everybody knows the message behind it, but they don't give you anything really concrete to latch onto. And that is very present in this community. And it's like I I have drawn a certain amount of flack on social media at various times for being essentially pro gay, pro trans, pro whatever. And if these people actually knew me, if they took the time to actually look through the posts and actually look at my thought is, I don't give a shit about pro gay, pro trans, anything like that. I don't, because I'm not that. I don't have a right to speak on those issues because I'm not really educated about them. I've never bothered to study it because it, why are they any different from me? I've got buddies that are gay and they're fucking, one of them was 20-year army and combat MOS the entire time. And it was just like, you never would think that this dude was gay, but he is. And honestly, it's never really been a thing. I literally only think about it when I'm using it as an example of, yeah, I don't care. Like it's not like, why are we using this to categorize it? And then, there's everything like save our children and stuff like that. And I don't know of anyone legitimately who isn't for protecting children, because if they are against protecting children, then I'm not going to be friends with them, and I'm probably going to try and drop them down a fucking mine shaft or something
Yeah,
like that.
it sounds weird.
Yeah, yeah, and it's just like I just it's we're all fucking people, but I've drawn some pretty harsh flack for just being like, yeah, okay, they're people. Who gives a fuck? And like, as long as they don't want to infringe upon our rights, like, is it, if a trans person was here telling me that you and I are dead wrong and we are evil because we are straight men, yeah, okay, they're a fucking dick. They're not representative of that whole community. They're just a fucking dick. People like that should get their asses kicked. People who are just doing them and being them and not hurting anyone else, not impacting, and just trying to fucking make it in the world like the rest of us are. What the fuck's wrong with loving them just like you, just like everybody? Like, what the fuck is wrong with treating them like an equal human being and what I care about is, I care that everybody has a fair shot. I care about fairness. I care, like, I've had people ask me, "Oh, what side are you on for this Israel and Palestinian thing?" And I'm like, neither, because October 7th was not fucking cool. But bombing hospitals full of, fucking NICU patients isn't cool either. So,
Mm.
like, why the fuck are we, spending American tax dollars to create a joint task force to prosecute Hamas members that carried out that attack when it didn't happen in this fucking country?
Yeah, I can definitely agree with everything that you're saying, and I basically reflects my sentiment of life in general because, like you said, everybody's a person,
Yeah.
everybody deserves a fair chance, and honestly, I think if it makes good logical sense versus like I feel this is the right thing to do, I feel this is how it should be done. Because personally, I've stepped a lot more inside of myself as far as feelings, and I've um started pushing my logic forward more. I've started pushing my thoughts forward more because I'm like, I can't go around and feel that this is right if I can't justify it logically, and that's a lot of what's wrong in my opinion. And I see a lot of that because you're absolutely right. A person that's part of the LGBTQ community that is clearly and blatantly being bullied simply because they want to go buy, I don't know, a bag of apples at the grocery store, and some jackass is over there giving them a hard time, then yeah, that jackass deserves to have their ass kicked.
Yeah.
But if it's like vice versa, they're shaming the cashier for judging them, which the cashier's just there bringing up money and whatnot, but the cashier could be there like trying to figure out what's wrong with the sticker on the apple, and then all of a sudden the person that's over there is like, "Oh, you're judging me because I want to buy apples." Like, there's got to be less shameful weaponizing and more realistic
Yeah.
thoughts as far as what's really going on in reality. Because shame is a weapon, unfortunately. It's been taken away from its actual purpose. Long time ago, if you saw somebody that was like trying to get over on another person,
Hmm.
that person needed to be shamed. Now it's the person that doesn't want to allow the person to get over is
Yeah.
being shamed for it, which is it's bizarre world.
And yeah, that's like we humans fucking love. You see it through anthropology. I mean, like I remember being 10 years old around the dinner table having my mom explain this concept to me in depth. But like humans find comfort in creating other. Like
Mm.
when times are good in this country, you'll notice like we subdivide, we create other categories. Like, yeah, right now times honestly relatively minus the politics, minus this, times are pretty fucking good in this country. Like we don't have to worry about, suicide bombers at the grocery store. We don't have to worry about empty shelves at the grocery store. Like, some people will cause panic. Oh, well, the supply chain. Nah, dude, even during COVID, man, like I know people who live in countries that like the worst that the American shelves got in COVID would still be better than what they see in their wet dreams. And it's like we don't have to worry about separatists with tanks sitting over there on the Utah border ready to roll in because, oh shit, the negotiations broke. We don't have to worry about like, hey, is my kid's school going to be safe? Like, is my like, is it safe to just send my kid to school? Or is there going to be like a separatist mortar or something like that hit it today? Like, one of my friends, Farah, she's an Iraqi woman, and her husband is Iraqi uh, army, and she was telling me about how her high school almost went, without a prom until the local, and this made me so happy in it because I was wanting to be like, all right, so you were a teenager during the American War, what, or during the American occupation. And like,
Mhm.
I wanted to ask her, like, how do you feel about Americans? Like, man, I'm fucking, I'm a hillbilly. I'm a dip chewing, cigar smoking hillbilly. I fucking love my country. There's been a flag over every goddamn place that I live. But I wanted to ask her, like, how do you feel about Americans? She answered that question because she said, hey, look, like, I always, when the Marines were searching my apartment, they were so nice, and then they were just very respectful to her and her sisters and her mom, and like she's like, yeah, you guys did security. I think she told me that like the Marines did security for her high school prom, and I'm like
Wow.
sitting there going, that do I agree with the war in Iraq? I still don't know, man. I got too many buddies that went there and suffered, but that made me so fucking proud of them. That made me so proud of the conduct of our troops, of my buddies that had gone over there. And God knows, I've got a bunch of buddies that were jarheads that I'm like, I could have seen them just, yeah, like the actions of those Marines that she dealt with squared 100% with the guys that I knew. And I mean, I was so fucking proud. But here in this country, we've got it good, and we are so comfortable in our having it goodness that we have to create others. And when you don't have an external force like the Soviet Union or Russia or China, we subdivide.
Mhm.
And one of the biggest ways that you can tell we don't take Russia as a serious enough threat and we don't take China as a serious enough threat is because we are still creating other categories within our own society. I mean,
Yeah.
and one can argue, we didn't really take the Soviet Union very seriously as a culture because I'm sorry, the most basic fucking thing in the world took an entire movement. The civil rights movement shouldn't have fucking happened because it is the most common sense fucking thing in the world. Like, what are we arguing about? Why did we need to have that argument? And I would argue that the civil rights movement shows that we were not taking our own espoused ethics and morals very seriously, because we should have prioritized unity above all. And the number one way to get unity is to treat everybody within this country like they're equal, give them the same consideration that you would ask to have given to you.
I think the biggest problem with that though is like it always comes back down to money.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah.
it especially like during the civil rights movement and everything because it was never finished. Matter of fact, they literally took Dr. King's legacy and took it from like his last words were basically, "We're coming to get the check. We're coming to get what is owed, not because of like we want the money, but because of it's a debt that's been unpaid."
Mm-hmm.
And he dies, movement pretty much stops. You're not going to hear anything about Malcolm X because they look at him as too radical.
Yeah.
And then they take King's image and they reprogram it to what they wanted until recently. Because one thing I will say about the black community is like we're not going to allow what's going on in Florida, the complete rewriting of history and rewording to make it seem like it's happy and everybody was just out there picking cotton, singing songs and smiling. Like nah, it's
It
as
wasn't a
long
South
as
Park episode.
right, as long as you have actual logical reasoning and thinking people out there that are going, hey, this don't seem right. Um, that history is always going to be there. I don't care
Yeah.
what government comes along and decides to try and make a change. I myself, I've actually started trying to collect black media more. I'd like to expand to more artwork. I've expanded to certain books. I've gotten all of Dr. Claude Anderson's collection. I've gotten all of Scheherazade Ali's collection.
Nice.
Um, I got some W.E.B. Du Bois books. I've got Booker T. Washington. I mean, dude, I try and collect, media to make sure that, God forbid, if it looks like uh, Fahrenheit 451 or like Equilibrium or whatever dystopian movie you like to mention, at least there's some sort of history there,
Yeah.
And you're right. The sad thing is, I get that a potential force that is sitting there needs to create some kinetic chaos, I guess you could call it.
Yeah.
But the fact that we're doing it amongst ourselves, because I mean, God, if you look at Ohio recently with the guys that popped out as Nazis and everything, um,
Yeah, that was what the fuck.
I mean, even, or excuse me, for censorship purposes, goose steppers is what I call them. Even saying that out loud during this interview, man, it's like there's people that are goose stepping on American soil.
Which is
It don't
fucking
sound
embarrassing.
right. Yeah, very. And
Yeah.
that's not what we ended up getting a black militia out of that. You would think that it would just be a black militia. Don't get me wrong. I understand why, especially if you look at the history of what's going on in black society. I understand why the black people over there are like, yo, we're not doing this
Yeah.
because it's already been done. We ain't trying to go back there. But
Mm-hmm.
if you look up again, Orlando had the same thing happen.
Yeah.
And it just kind of ties into a post I made. I believe it was yesterday. People are looking at me like, oh, "You carry 3 magazines? That's wow. That's crazy word." Meanwhile, I'm in Georgia and I got my neighboring state, Orlando, with goose steppers over there. And you don't think that could potentially happen in Georgia? Dude, at the end of the day, I'm like, if you stay ready, you have to get ready. I'm not trying to go fight a World War III on my property or anything, but the last thing I need to do is get caught up in a goose rally or something, you know?
Yeah. I mean, dude, literally the Constitution exists because of essentially people people fighting for what was right. And even a lot of the founding fathers were like, hey, this whole slavery issue, like right now we're kicking the can down the road. We're going to let this be sorted out in about 60, 70 years. But this is going to have to be dealt with. And I mean, like in the Federalist Papers, Hamilton was really fucking clear in about a paragraph. We're going to have to deal with this one day. There will be a reckoning coming. And I mean, the biggest the biggest annoyance is you get a lot of white people. No, actually, you know what? No one is comfortable talking about race issues. The only reason I am is because I had the luxury of growing up under an anthropologist or being raised by an anthropologist in anthropology. My best friend was black. I I'm not going to say I was colorblind. I'm not going to insult you ever by saying, "Oh, I was colorblind. I didn't see color." I just grew up kind of not realizing that it fucking mattered. And then in college was where it all of a sudden I'm like, you mean it fucking matters? Like most people went and had like, well, I see a lot of people go type how they, oh, we went to college and it was just a bunch of commie professors trying to liberalize me and all that shit. And I'm like, okay, you might have been fucking crazy or something like that. You might have just read too much into it, or you're just spouting bullshit that didn't actually happen, and you got your fucking accounting degree out and you just fucked off. Like buddy, whatever fits your narrative. For me, I had a philosophy professor who I really, really liked. This philosophy professor was really an impressive mind, but there was always something there that I just would have to be like, there's something there that doesn't sit right. Me being a dumb fucking kid who was curious as shit and wanted to know why I felt that way, got closer and closer to him. And so in a space of about 3 years, I'm like going, oh shit. This college professor was a white separatist. He was a pro apartheid. Do I think he was consciously racist? No. No, not in the form of being like, you and I aren't equal. You and I aren't there. But essentially, I think what he actually, no, he did legitimately believe it. He would say shit like, he was one of the first ethno nationalists that I ever ran into. And this was '06, '07, like back when ethno nationalism was not like super popular.
Mm-hmm.
He was for apartheid, but he always wanted to make it very clear, nope, it has to be equal, which is why I'm sitting there going, okay, he's not consciously racist because he doesn't think of himself as that way. He doesn't think that like there, or if he did, he was just very good at hiding it. But
Mm-hmm.
he was incredibly racist because at the end of the day, what the fuck's different from me and you? The accident of birth. If I had been born in northern Nigeria to a Yoruba tribe, I think that's the tribe there, I could very well easily be a Boko Haram fighter right now. I could be, if I was born in Thailand, I could be a person supporting the military government, the dictatorship. If I was born in Russia, who knows? I mean, it's literally the accident of birth shapes us. And to think it's anything other than an accident is frankly kind of arrogant. And I mean, my mom's family was brought to this country by slavery, not in the way everyone thinks, but in the way that made us the bad guys in a lot of Clint Eastwood movies. But
Yeah.
we like that was my college experience, was going to school and then realizing, holy fuck, racism is still alive. And it made me realize, like, I was talking to it with my buddy Tion, my best friend. This dude, has been probably the single most stable influence in my fucking life. He is just straightforward, common sense, wildly intelligent, and literally just has been that brother that will always, even if I'm in the wrong, always help me get out of a jam. But I went to Tion one day and we were sitting there talking about it, and we'd had a few too many beers, and I was just like going like, so why does colorblind, like the people say I don't see color? He goes like, why does that feel so weird? He goes, it's because the only people who will say they're colorblind are the people who aren't reminded of their color every time they look in the mirror. And the only people in the American society who are fortunate enough to not have that reminder every time we look in the mirror are the people who look like me. And I could make a big deal out of, well, I'm not fully white, my great grandmother was half crow. Bro, I am as white gets. Dude, I am literally the trifecta in this country. I am straight, I am white, and I'm a male. Like, I fucking, like, thank you, God, for letting me hit the genetic lottery, because I have the most opportunity in this country. I have the most access in this country. And I'm like, okay, I get this by virtue of being what I am. I'm happy I have it, because fuck, I can't imagine how hard it would be to not have it. But I look at people around me and go, why don't they have it?
Mm.
I'm sorry, I grew up in Southern California. I knew a lot of hardworking Mexican and Hispanic Americans. Why are they treated any less than I am? I mean, I've had this little fucking Hispanic farmer dude who looked he was like 5 foot nothing. He looked like he had shown up straight there from job. This dude paid for a $90,000 truck in cash. His two sons were in the military. He owned 19 landscaping trucks and made probably $4 million a year and paid taxes on fucking all of it. And this homie I was fortunate enough to sell this dude a truck at 90 grand, because he was like, I'm surprising my wife for her birthday. And I'm like, fucking rock on. But that dude had to work twice as hard as I would have to get there.
Yeah. It's part of the system. Ironically, well, not ironically enough, but sad enough because,
No.
I don't get me wrong. I'm always gonna have a pro black mindset because, duh. But
Well,
I
pro
know
black is pro American. Like
it
that's
is,
exactly what it is.
especially considering history and everything. Yeah, it is. I agree with that. Um, but I'm not blind to the fact that number one, you've got two sides of the spectrum, or rather, it's two separate sides. You got white people, and you got white supremacy.
Yeah.
Two things. A lot of people look at it like they intersect. I think personally, intersections of like different aspects of a person's life. I mean, it's utilized to get to a better platform. I usually see it like that, but you have to sometimes split that platform aside and say, okay, look, this person is this person, this thing is this. So I look
Mm.
at the thing, and I've dealt with a thing before. Growing up in Texas in a pretty much all white neighborhood and school system, I've seen my fair share of racism.
Yeah.
I've to the point where I don't even use the N word because of that. I don't like it. I don't condone it. I don't care how you twist it and whatnot. It's still got that same that bad energy, that bad taste, whatever you want to call it. It's there. Um, I've had a kid tell me that I couldn't play with his toys because his mom said that blacks can't touch these toys, and this was like early elementary school. She said not to let blacks touch these, and I'm like, I didn't understand. I'm like, they're toys. What do you mean? What do you mean blacks touch these? And then
What are you gonna touch the toy and make it black? Is your skin color gonna fucking what?
I mean, it was the mother, and I'm over here like, okay, I try my best not to get it dirty. You know, I thought he was talking about the dirt or something. Like, no, he's talking about me. I mean, I've dealt with a lot at a young age. I even had to fight off, God, let's just say minimum 10 kids at my daycare, and they all were like trying to circle gang up on me.
Mm.
Um, I was the only black kid at the daycare, and I guess
In
say for what it
Texas,
is.
that would be interesting. That would be interesting.
Yes.
Oh,
That that I know was in itself it was white supremacy. You
yeah.
know, I've met great white people that don't give me that type of bullshit. You know, and I what I don't like seeing is good people being put in a situation to where they start feeling uneasy. I'm not trying to sit here and say that sometimes people shouldn't feel uneasy because if you fall into that guilt box, I mean, hey, it's going to be called out, and yeah, you're going to have to have a reckoning with yourself and realize, oh shit, I got a lot of people coming at me because I think X, Y, and Z, kind of like your college professor.
Yeah.
Um, but at the end of the day, it's like you see a lot of fear from other white people, and I know that has a lot to do with the media, and it has a lot to do with what social media portrays. It has a lot to do with a lot of stereotypes and the fact that a lot of people have gotten very comfortable behind their keyboard and think that they don't deserve an ass kicking because they can type a paragraph that seems extremely um, intelligent, and at the same time it tears down a certain race of people. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. That works online, but in all actuality, intents and practices, whenever you come back to reality, you're going to have to deal with these things. And like you said, there's going to have to be a reckoning to the point where there's going to be there needs to be some work done on this unfinished business because it's going to boil down to if we all can't be comfortable, we're all going to be equally uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And that's not going to end well because, I mean, like I said, we got people goose stepping over in Orlando. It's only a matter of time before there's another bullet heard around the world because some idiot decided to do something stupid and it caused another reaction. And
That is what I am afraid of. Like
mhm,
when people, and I I've had my moments of being one of these people. Because I it is honestly something that it just fucking it tears me up because it's like I can't imagine it. I don't want to imagine it. I mean, fuck, I really, really like my job of working in an air conditioned bank and being nice to people. I love the fact that I can sit here and, sit comfortably in my own home with the lights on, my fridge working, and I've got my fridge is full of food. And
mhm.
I mean, honestly, painting fucking like my side job, here's a Buffalo Soldier that we painted because the Buffalo Soldiers were posted like 30 miles away from where I'm at Fort Verde. So we're doing like a historic display. Like my side business is fucking around with toys. I don't want that to I don't want that to be fucked up. In 20 years from now, I want to be close to retirement, looking forward to spending my retirement at my shop. I am deathly well, not deathly, but I am very concerned that we're going to have something as stupid as like the Serbian bottle incident here, or like when wars go down, it's never for good shit. Like the fucking kid that started the kid that caused Syria to erupt. Kid was painting fucking graffiti. Any was that a good reason to kidnap this kid from his family, torture him, and then dump him on his mom's doorstep? Fuck no. That was stupid.
Mhm.
All the kid was doing was painting graffiti. Guess what you do? You hand the kid a thing of paint, you hand him a paintbrush, and you say, you repaint that wall right now, motherfucker. But because they had no outlet or outlets for political expression, outlets for expression of individualism, in outlets for frustration were blocked and oppressed by a horrible system where Bashar al-Assad ran as essentially a fucking monarch, a kid fucking spray painting on a wall, started a revolution that became one of the 21st century's deadliest wars and destroyed a country. And God knows when they'll be on the path again to having the life that everybody deserves, you know, and that it's like God knows when that's going to happen. Fucking same shit in the Balkans. I mean, it's rough. I mean, you look at
Yeah.
fucking Paraguay. One dumbass fucking choice by one dictator in the 1870s killed 75% of that country's population and killed something like 90% of the male population. They have not recovered from that war in the 1870s to this day. Their demographics are still fucked. Their wealth value, their GDP is still fucked. Their economy is still fucked. And they, like, one fucking bad choice.
Mm.
And that's all it's going to take. And you're right. That like it or not, people want to be like, oh, well, we just need to worry about what's in our own borders. Yeah, we do. But by virtue of being what we are and what we have been over the past 120 years, we are a beacon to the rest of the world. The rest of the world essentially goes as we go. Everything from pop culture to government to military decisions.
Mm.
If we go down to chaos, not only will it be people, people like my mom who need medication and stuff, they'll be running out of medication, but it will have effects. It'll have effects in fucking Mongolia, man. It'll have effects everywhere. And that it's about, for the guys, for anybody who might watch this, who might, you know, put on their gear and kind of think about, yeah, well, I'm going to do this. I'm like, just realize if you're put in that position, fucking all right, I will be right there with you. I pray to God neither of us ever are, but if you want to go out and start it, you may as well just come over to my house and pull the trigger on my mom. You may as well go through every nursing home in this country and pull the trigger on those residents. You may go to I was in a coma for 3 days. So not terrible, but you may as well go to every coma patient in this country and just pull the trigger on their head, because the shit we are used to, the shit we take for granted will go away like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got two fucking interstates that run through my entire region, I-40 and I-17. You do anything to those, fuck, our shit is fucking fragile.
Yeah.
I can't make half the medicine. I can't make my mom's blood pressure medicine. There's no fucking way I can. And the natural remedies, my mom's a goddamn ethnobotanist. She knows all the natural remedies. She takes all of them, but she still takes that meds because right now she needs it.
Yeah.
And
And
so,
it takes
yeah.
time for those to work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
And it's like that, dude. As you can tell, that is something that I worry about. It's like, okay, who's going to fire that first shot? And I don't expect it to be for something good or something bad. I half expect it to be fucking stupid. And
yeah.
it's that is going to put everybody else in this country in a very, very bad position, because every city in this country will look like Sarajevo over fucking night.
Yeah. I mean, it's sad to even have that feeling of foreboding, because I don't know what it was. It's like ever since probably mid last year, it was just this dark type of foreboding thought. And it wasn't even like I could visualize it. It was just like you could feel the tension in the air. And
Yeah.
even now, after all the election drama and everything, it's still there, and it's almost like something is going to happen. You don't know what it is, but it's just in the back of your mind something is going to happen. I mean, even looking at the news and how things are building up, especially with the way police are sometimes. You've got the major ones that are hitting the news where um, you're seeing people that share my reflection die, and it's not like people are going to sit back and say, "Oh, it's okay." No, I mean it's a hash mark that goes on a wall, um, and it's almost like the people that are in charge of the quote unquote management of this company of a country, if you will, are just like, it's cool, it's okay, we'll sit back and deal with it. I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, whatever. It's just you got a lot of people sitting back,
Yeah.
and it's real easy to do that when you don't really have to worry about the price of eggs or the price of milk because
Hmm.
you got your little servant to go out and get in your fancy car, and then they might come back and say, "Yeah, the milk was $5." You're like, $5? Good God! Meanwhile, everybody else is like, "Shit, the milk was $5. Can we just get skim milk? Can we water it down? I mean, what can we do to make this
Yeah.
work?"
Yeah.
So
I mean,
it's
yeah.
the needs of the common people are literally just being yelled out every single day, but you're being led by a bunch of people who could care less as long as pockets are lined and as long as they um and I remember a Republican California politician saying this. Most of the politicians think that they deserve that position and they deserve the vote of the people. Not like they're trying to earn the vote of the
Yeah.
people, but they deserve it. Even up in New York, there's a lot of stuff that's gone wrong because the gentleman that was literally he was executed by 10 plus people in the jail while restrained, and they try to hide the body. They try to hide the body by throwing it out the window. This was all on camera footage, and everybody's like, "Yeah, this is okay." And meanwhile, the mayors, the governors, the leaders over there, they're like, "Just a normal day. Vote for me."
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the problem is we need to make sure these people get out. That is one of the biggest problems. Because if you know you got cancer and you're not going to the doctor to get it taken care of, what do you think is going to happen eventually?
Yeah.
That's what's going on.
Yeah. The biggest thing that I worry about, well, it's not okay. I say that about a lot of shit, but one of the things that I think about a lot is the development of the French court of Versailles. Now, the Versailles Palace and stuff like that's not what I'm talking. There's a 150-year period of French history, and because my mom's family is Southern French, they emigrated here in 1850s. My first ancestor, JPD Morquan, came through Charleston. Um, all of a sudden discovered that he really did not fucking like the institution of slavery as was practiced in America or in general. So he went to Kansas and joined the Jayhawkers, Jennison's Jayhawkers, before it was legal to kill slave owners. And he started killing slave owners. And so like he was part of a group like the 11th commandment was passed down through my family is the weirdest fucking thing. We are basically still old school abolitionists. Like
Mm.
the 11th commandment, my grandmother taught me, and that is, thou shalt not suffer the slave owner to live. And he was in the 7th Kansas United States Volunteer Cavalry. He served, I think it was Company H. William Cody, Buffalo Bill Cody, served in Company I. He was a sergeant, and this 4'11" angry fucking Frenchman, his ideology shaped my family's ideology here. 1850, 2025, we still carry that ideology, and I fucking love it, partly because I was raised in it. I don't really know any other way of thinking. But one of the things that shaped him was this 150-year period of the court of Versailles. It was Louis the 14th, 15th, and 16th, the last one. Now these fuckers just would not fucking die. So 3 kings in a period of like 150 to 180 years. But one of the most telling ways or telling things about the Court of Versailles was that everyone that was involved in the government was part of it. Um, they were so locked in their doctrine and in their etiquette that literally the French queen would have to wait 8 hours to find someone of sufficient rank to get dressed. The number one way, like they were so decadent, the number one way of poisoning people at the French court of Versailles was through their enemas. Because these
Wow.
fuckers, at a time when France was starving, the revolution was coming. 150 to 180 years period of just constant abuse, of where a single war would bankrupt a country because of how much money was being spent on 1,500 fountains at the court of Versailles. The feasts were so common, so regular, so rich that the number one way to kill these fuckers was poisoning their enemas because they needed one every fucking day just so they could take a shit. And that level of decadence, my family has been bred against. I mean, fuck, I can't even really have more than one piece of a really fucking nice piece of chocolate cake from the grocery store because I'm like, nope, that's too decadent. Nope, just one piece. Like, fuck, it is ingrained because of how destructive it can be. And like, what I am afraid of with now what I'm afraid of is that court, that a version of that court developing here in this country. And yeah, people will say, oh well, it'll just be white and all stuff. It'll be majority white, but I don't think it'll be race based. It'll be majority white because let's face it, that's where the majority of the money is in the white population. The majority of billionaires in this country are white. The majority of our politicians are white. But I don't think that'll be what determines who gets into the court or the creation of the court. It'll be the extremely wealthy. We have people in this country that have more wealth than this country does. And you know, it is just when you create that level of isolation and distance from the common people, you forget what the needs of the common country are. And that's where the court of Versailles, at the end of the day, the decadence wasn't wrong. The silver furniture wasn't wrong, not unless you're morally or ethically.
You okay?
Uh-oh.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. You're good. Kids always kid comes first, man. Kid comes first.
It's the big kids.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's not any one of those like the silver furniture that they melted down to increase or to actually recreate the thing about this. They had enough solid silver furniture at Versailles that they were able to melt it down and refill the nation's treasury. Was having all of that really morally and ethically wrong? I don't know. To me, yes. To other people's, that is all subjective. That is individualistic. God help me if I ever have a silver chair or anything like that. Like, fuck no. But that's how I was raised. What was wrong, what made Versailles so wrong, was when they viewed themselves as the state, when they viewed the social contract as no longer being between them and the common people, but between the common people and them. When they started viewing the common people as their servants is when the revolution became inevitable. And out of the chaos of the revolution came Napoleon. Out of the chaos
Mm.
of Napoleon came the Vienna Accords. Out of that came World War One. Out of that came World War Two. Not to mention, out of the chaos of the French Revolution and the Treaty of Vienna came the colonial movement in Africa. That came the beginnings of the condition to set up shit like the Belgian Congo, to set up shit like, and that exploitation led to Eisenhower okaying the murder of Patrice Lumumba, the first democratically elected leader of the Congo. I mean, when you get shit like that, like the French Revolution laid the groundwork for all of it, which laid the groundwork for the Cold War, which led to shit like Somalia being the way it is now. It led to Ethiopia being the way it is now. It led to the United States being the way it is now. And a second American Revolution would be 10 times more damaging.
Yeah, especially
And
since the government is saying that you don't want to do it because I mean they've literally said that they are willing to turn their weapons, their cash against the American people.
oh, they
They might
already
not
did.
have said it exactly like that, but there have been major hints about it, which
Yeah,
is yeah.
they already do in the most damaging way possible. The banking industry is the most heavily regulated industry. Now, granted, for good fucking reasons.
Mhm.
We're the most heavily regulated industry that exists in this country. Half of those regulations existed because banks did dumb shit. Banks did fucking really dumb shit. They preyed upon people and they took our hard earned money. The other half of those regulations are shit that created the credit score system. It created shit like, regulating overtime. Now,
Mm.
granted, should overtime be regulated? Absolutely. Should overtime be mandatory? Absolutely. Should it be taxed? I don't. I don't think so. That's the one good thing that I think is coming out of the modern thing is, hey, cool. If overtime's not taxed, then that's less money that goes to the government. But when people will say, I don't want, well, like I dealt with this a lot as being a banker in Arizona when Zelle was saying we're going to report any transaction over $600. Yeah, okay, cool. That doesn't fucking matter, dude. Like Zelle is owned by banks. Zelle isn't its own company. It's owned by banks. PNC, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, US Bank, and Chase Bank. I believe those are the ones that own it.
Of course.
They fucking own it. And governments already have the regulations are designed so that if government follows its own processes, they can get whatever information they want. And the government has to follow a process, yes, but the government created that process and there's no one checking on it except for the government. The oh fuck, there was another thing too. But like the credit score system, it works the way it does. Even inquiries, the way inquiries work is regulated by the government. The government shaped the way economics and finances work. And a lot of it was done with money changing hands and lobbying. And they're already they've weaponized the banking system against us. The one thing they haven't really fucked with, now granted, credit unions, yeah, if the government wants information from it, it's cool. But the government doesn't really give a shit about credit unions because we're not a major share. We're compared to banking, we're a fraction. But the best thing is like my credit union is the best weapon that I have to help break that debt-based economy. And the debt-based economy was the debt-based economy was originally developed as a weapon to keep countries like Indonesia, Vietnam, Thailand under our thumb during the Cold War. After we lost in Vietnam, we created a system where we would weaponize USAID and the World Bank, called the American Bank, as way there. So you would get USAID funds. You would use those funds to hire American companies. You would get World Bank loans. You would use those to hire, and we would get like the Government of Indonesia is a perfect example. We will get them in that debt-based cycle so that if one of their presidents decided, I'm going to nationalize this, we'd be like, no, the fuck you're not. We pay your military. So, hey, guys, go kill him and install whoever the fuck you want. Now we're using that against our own people.
Yeah.
Why would we use a system designed to enslave other nations, neutral nations, against our own people?
Because if your own people doesn't have money, they can't start a revolution or afford to bank one.
Absolutely. There's a reason. There is a reason why the American Revolution started from the upper class. And now with social media, with technology, a lot of that power has been pulled out of the hands of the upper class and been given to the common men like you and I, common women. But at the end of the day, the number one thing that keeps Americans calm and peaceful and sedate is, man, I got fucking bills to pay. I can't go and fucking protest. I can't fucking take time out. I can't buy the shit I need to make my voice felt, whether it be poster board or sign or Irish friendly things. I can't buy the materials I need because I got to make my mortgage payment. I got to make my car payment. I got to make my credit card payment. I got to make my cell phone payment. Every fucking decade, there's some kind of payment that gets added to us. Think about 1990. Did we have internet payments? No. Did we have car payments? Yeah. But guess what? That car was probably $3,500 fucking dollars, which, yeah, adjusted for inflation is like 20 grand. But now you got like you could buy a fucking Honda Accord for 40 grand. Why the fuck is a Honda Accord 40 grand? And it is the number one most effective way to keeping our population sedate is through the economy. And if it doesn't change, if we don't find a way to actually empower the average person in this country, and nowadays the average person doesn't look like me, it doesn't look like you, it doesn't look Hispanic, it doesn't look, the average person looks like all of us. The number one way to avoid a harmful revolution for us and the rest of the world is to empower the average American. And if we don't do that, we're gonna have another revolution, but it won't look like the American Revolution that we had. It's going to look like the French Revolution. We're going to come out of it with a fucking emperor or damn near close to it. We're going to be feeling the repercussions of it for 300 years.
Yeah, I find it interesting that because I mean, when is the last time you ever heard of an American president, an assassination attempt on, well, not just an American president, he was a candidate, but nonetheless, just any political assassination attempt in America. Because I'm thinking it was like probably around the civil rights era, if not a little bit after that, because I think they did try and assassinate Reagan too. But nonetheless, it's like it's crazy.
The last candidate we have, I think the last candidate that there was an assassinate, like an actual, and I'm sure that the men and women with the Secret Service probably stopped so fucking many, and like hands down to it, like hats off to them, like holy shit, but with this, like, I honestly, the last presidential candidate that I think was assassinated or even attempted to be assassinated that's in the public consciousness wasn't it like RFK, the first one? Because I know Reagan was shot, but wasn't he shot while he was president?
I think so, because I remember he actually was giving a speech, and then something happened in the background. It sounded like a gunshot, and he was on a microphone. And he said, "Missed me." Everybody laughed about that, but it's just, I believe it was when he was president, and it's baffling. I mean, I know they say history repeats itself, but it's just mind-bogglingly crazy to even hear at my age, because I'm 40 now. I just turned 40 this year. That somebody tried to assassinate a political candidate in America.
Yeah, like It's so weird, and you know, like human behavioral patterns repeat themselves because we are really no different. Me and you are no different than someone in ancient Sumeria 4,000 years ago. Like we're not that different. Um, you could teach one of those ancient Sumerian kids to use these fucking computers, give them a week, and then they'll use it better than you or I can. But
Yeah.
like the number one reason why I love anthropology and the number one reason why I don't like anthropology is it teaches you those human behavioral patterns. And it was the best gift that my mom ever gave me, but it was also why why I've got more gray in my beard than maybe I should. And I'm like, fuck. Like, I mean, I don't want to say you can look at the future, you can predict the future based on it. And one of my cats is fucking with the blinds, or one of my brother's cats. But I don't want to say you can predict the future using anthropology, but you can certainly give a good guess. And my brother Tion reminded me of that when Trump was a candidate. We were sitting there and I still didn't really know. I didn't care. I mean, Clinton, Trump, I didn't give a shit. Like, fuck it. They were both equally as bad. And my mom knew or worked with one of the tribes that Trump really screwed over. So the tribe kicked him out back when he had Trump 29 casino. Um, um, so needless to say, my family hasn't thought much of Trump ever since he was a Democrat. And, but with that, I remember sitting there one night. Well, Tion reminded me, I was sitting there one night with him and I was going, if he wins and then he loses the election, he's going to try and stay in power and he's not going to give it up. Well, then January 6th happen. And Tion just sends me a text message that day going, remember that conversation we had? I'm like, oh, God damn it. And so if you study the behavioral patterns of humans, you can get there. And a lot of people will be like, well, this seems counterintuitive. This is there. I'm like, it does on a one for one basis. But look at grand scale people. It's why people with 5 years of data on a big concert, when they have that 6 year concert, they'll review all of the footage together because humans in large groups make predictable moves because humans in large groups think the same. And all this country is just humans in a large group. And every human wants to be part of the winning team. And every human want it. The same thing that fuels sports teams loyalty fuels political loyalty.
Yeah, everybody wants to have that team that they feel that they can belong to, and then
Mm-hmm.
whenever that team quote unquote ends up winning, then it becomes subcategories somehow because
Yeah.
there always needs to be somebody who thinks or feels they're doing right. That's another reason why the transcendentalists never really were able to set that utopia up, because it just everybody had a goal, everybody had an idea, but too much separation.
Yeah.
But
And oh, go ahead.
oh, go ahead, go ahead. Yeah.
And that separation is killing us because like we the average human is not a thinking person. The average human just wants to have their life and they want to just live their life and they don't want to think about grander things. The average human, and God, I have my moments of this too. Everybody does. The average human essentially is a pebble caught in an avalanche, in a landslide.
Mm.
And that momentum is what fuels us.
Well
So
said.
yeah, I thank you. I just like and it's like my mom would say, it's like 99% of humanity, 99.9% of humanity for the entire existence has been uneducated peasant farmers, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just they're the number one duty of an American citizen is to make themselves a thinker, educate themselves on our system, and make them manipulation proof. And if you can catch those patterns, you can prevent a lot of bad shit.
Yeah. Mike, I'd like to keep talking, man, but I got to go pay those bills and everything we were talking about.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Sorry for ranting on.
No,
And
dude, I mean, it was great. Honestly, this is kind of like a off the dome type interview. I didn't have any like set questions. I just wanted to see how it flowed, and dude, just hearing everything that you were saying. Yeah, we got to follow up on this one. You know, spin a block and just get back on this topic again. I would love to sit down and keep talking about it
hell
more
yeah.
because people need to realize how money is being utilized as a weapon against them to keep them where they're at, and everything else to make them think certain things. So yeah, this is a
And
deep topic.
the one thing, like, for any of you that might listen to this that are in banking or in any kind of industry where you sit down and advise people, the number one thing I will say is I was scared shitless the first time I did it, but with members of a different race, do not be afraid to bring up, hey, you've got odds stacked against you more than on average. Because every time I have an honest conversation about race and finances with a Black member or a Hispanic member, I find that they actually respect it. They respect me. They respect my choices. They respect my advice. They expect, or they respect my advice much more so. So for any of you out there that hear this and you don't know how to bring it up, honestly, just do what I do, bite the bullet and just say, hey, look, I'm going to bring up a difficult topic right now, and it's not a pleasant one. And I don't really want to bring it up, but I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't bring it up. And my job to you is to give you the best possible financial advice that I can. And just rip that band-aid off. And because you owe it to them, they are in front of you. You are their trusted advisor in whatever it is that they come to you for. You owe it to them to give the very best service you can, and you cannot give that very best service if you don't expect them, if you don't prepare them for, hey, you are Black. Here's how you might be judged. Here are some practices that have been traditionally used against people who look like you. Here are some things. Here are the methods of protection. If you feel that I am discriminating against you, let me know, because I can explain everything that I'm recommending to you. And if you bring that up, you're gonna do right by them. Even if it's not comfortable, sometimes we get the best shit done when we're not comfortable.
Yeah, punch the fucking elephant.
Amen. Brother, I appreciate you, man. It's been fucking great, man. I hope you have me on soon again. This has been awesome.
You're always welcome back anytime. Just let everybody know how they find you, get in contact with you, socials.
Instagram, the number one way to reach out to me is just Mike Blodgett, Blodgett on Instagram. You send me a message through there. I will always return messages. I see all the messages. If you're a historical or any kind of war gamer, check out my shop page at Coppertown Games. We're a tiny little game club in Jerome. If you're in Northern Arizona, stop by at Everett. I'm gonna have to get you out here sometime, dude.
Dude, I'll get out there because I still want to do Warhammer. I don't know what it is, just the lore and the.
Dude, it's fucking cool. I hate the game, but I fucking love the miniatures.
Dude, definitely have you back on again, Mike. I
Thanks,
appreciate
brother.
that.
I appreciate you, man. All right, you have a good one, bro.
You too. Stay safe.
Yes, sir. You too. Bye.
Bye.
Hey! This the Black Powder Podcast, let's get explicit. We got the wisdom hitting targets with a marksman's precision. We're having fun in the booth, we're running gun for the truth. Every future black gun owner, we're spreading the news. We do illegal, we're moving regal and blessing the people. Some hopes for the culture.